when should you actually design your warehouse? Maybe you're looking at your supply chain, your distribution network, but when should you actually work out how that warehouse is going to actually operate and how big it's going to be? Do you start building the warehouse? Do you pick a warehouse that you're going to rent? 90% of people actually get that wrong, and I'll explain, coming right up. So I reckon about 90% of companies that I've dealt with over the last 25 years or so get the sequence wrong. They start thinking about building warehouses and maybe renting warehouses before they've even designed it. And why is that important? I've even talked to large developers, big businesses that are building massive distribution centers all over the country and the region, and they don't even do it right. They have customers coming to them who say, we want a 20,000 metre warehouse, go and build one. But they don't ask the question, is it 20,000 or should it be 15 or should it be 25? Because no one's actually done the detailed analysis. And why is that so important? Well, when you think about needing a new warehouse, that's when you should do the internal design. I'm not talking about designing the building, I'm talking about the materials handling and storage solution that goes inside it. Now, you don't need to actually do a hugely detailed design, but you need to understand how much product's going to be stored, how it's going to be handled, how it's going to be picked and dispatched and so on, at least at a concept level. Why? Because it has a direct influence on how big the warehouse is going to be. And if you don't do that, you end up with the wrong size warehouse and the wrong height, the wrong storage height in the warehouse for your product. It happens all the time. So let me just explain why this is so important. So as soon as you think you're going to have a new warehouse, or you're going to build, or you're going to rent, start thinking of the design inside out. You need to have a look at the volume of product that's going to be stored there, the inventory levels. Why is that important? Because obviously the warehouse cube, we always think of a warehouse cube, the utilization of that cube is going to depend on how much product's actually stored in it. And you need to understand how it's going to be stored. If it's very fragile product, it's all going to be on racking systems. If it's very robust product in neat storage units like pallets or some kind of containers, it could be block stacked. So again, the type of product that's being stored will influence how the storage is laid out inside, which then impacts how much footprint we need and how much height we need, all depending on the type of product. You also need to think about growth levels. So a lot of people make the mistake of designing a warehouse for the amount of product they're storing right now. So, maybe they've got a 10,000 metre warehouse and we're running out of space, so let's go and get a 15,000 metre warehouse. But they're not thinking ahead. Do you expect the business to grow? Do you expect the range to expand, the customer base to expand? Are you going to be putting more product in? Could you actually do your resupply, your sourcing or your inventory management better and actually hold less product? Maybe you're not very good at inventory management and you could actually get away with staying in the existing facility if you managed it better. You wouldn't need to store so much product. So that's the sort of storage element. Then we need to think about the materials handling component. How are we going to move product in and out of that warehouse? So picking, actually people going to select the product to fulfill customer orders. What's the order profile? Are we picking individual units, otherwise known as eaches? Are we picking cartons? Are we picking layers of a pallet? Are we picking full pallets? Are we picking multiple pallets, truckloads? All of that will require a different material handling solution to get the product from the storage location into its correct orders for customers and out through the dispatch docks. So you need to understand that, and of course how it happens now and how it happens in the future. Now, does all of this take ages and ages to do? No, it doesn't. I mean, when you come to the detailed design, when you've decided, look, we need a 15,000 square metre warehouse and we think it's going to have this type of storage and this type of materials handling, when you get to the stage of actually starting to build it or to lease it, you can do a more detailed design and hone it down, to very high degrees of accuracy. But up front, look, in a few days of analysis, you should be able to work out how big a cube do we need, what's the storage going to be looking like, And therefore, what should we go shopping for in terms of the profile of the warehouse, or what should we be thinking about building, and how much land will we need? You know, are we building a 15,000 metre warehouse or a 20,000 square metre warehouse? We can start to think of budgets and so on. That initial analysis is not hard to do. So why don't people do it? And because they don't do it, we get calls where people are saying, oh, look, we've kind of moved into a new warehouse, or we've only been here for a year or two and we're running out of space already. So we have to come in and kind of retrofit and redo layouts and all the rest of it. Some very, very simple analysis up front would avoid all of that. So have you ever seen challenges like that? Have you worked in businesses where, you know, the warehouse design just didn't work, or someone just said, let's go and rent that warehouse, and it ended up not being suitable? Love to hear your comments below. So you know how it works on the channel. If you enjoyed this video, do like, share, comment. All the comments below I will answer personally. If you're not subscribed, don't be mad, hit that subscribe button. Also hit the bell, and that way you'll get notified every time we have a new video coming out, and that's generally on a Wednesday. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you next week.